What is the innovation?
There are more technologies coming all the time.
Trying to get down to the specifics rather than being a sort of general partnership.
Innovation dialogue.
It's coming, and it's coming quickly.
Commit more resources and time and energy.
The prosthetics field to return people to function.
East meets West in Silicon Valley.
It's a beautiful photograph.
Welcome to Innovation Dialogue. I'm Diana Ding. Today we're going to talk about from smart to wise, and together with us is our speaker, Dr. Prasad Kaipa. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Diana, for inviting.
Oh, and tell us something about what you're doing.
Oh, I am a coach and an advisor to a variety of C-level executives, both in entrepreneurship and in large companies. So I work with them on innovation area and also their leadership, both organizational leadership and personal leadership.
And you recently wrote a book, From Smart to Wise. Yeah, this is what we are going to talk about. This is really a very powerful book for the to offer a step-by-step roadmap for getting to the sustainable leadership.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to put that into Chinese a little bit of you. Yes.
Please.
那我们今天呢非常高兴的为大家请到呢就是这位美籍印度裔的Kaipa博士啊，那么他呢是在专门的培训CEO， 就是公司的这个管理阶层呢怎么样能够长期稳定的发展，能够去创新。那么他自己呢也曾经也开办他自己的公司啊。那么最近他写了一本书呢，就是说呢从聪明到有智慧。那么从聪明到有智慧呢，主要就是像一个管理者的一个就是工具书一样的，告诉大家呢怎么样去做你的决断，怎么样去判断，怎么样呢让你的公司呢能够永续的发展。所以呢，我们这就是说不只是要有聪明，而且呢更重要的是要有智慧。Okay, just talked a little bit about you in Chinese. Well, it's interesting. In Silicon Valley, Chinese and Indian are the most our biggest group, I would say.
That's right. I would
Yes.
say so too.
Yes, yes, and we're so happy that you join us with the Battle Silicon Show as one of the mentor.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to work with your team, and I really enjoyed being on the Battle Silicon.
Thank you so much. Actually, you know, this book is from smart to wise.
Yes.
And what made you start to write this book?
What I found is, being in the Silicon Valley for past 25-30 years, I interacted with a large number of very smart people. Many of the people are extraordinarily smart, but not all smart people are successful. So when I talk to entrepreneurs, individually they are extremely smart. But when they form an entrepreneurial team, a management team, I found sometimes their smartness is not good enough.
Not good enough.
So many smart people fail, not because that smartness doesn't get them success, but collective success, organizational success requires more than smartness.
Yeah, very good. Then you see lots of smart people. Everybody wants themselves to be smart. And our parents always say, when I was a kid, and my mom always say, oh, be smart. Right. Be a smart girl. So almost every people want to be smart.
Right.
Our parents want us to be smart, and teachers want us to be smart. But right now you are saying that smart is not enough.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with the smart?
The reason why smartness is no longer sufficient is in these times when the complexity is the name of the game, we all deal with knowledge. Like for example, even last weekend, the San Jose Mercury News talks about because of the technology, everybody wants to really have the right knowledge. And when the knowledge becomes the king, everything is about smartness. You have smartphones,
Smart iPads,
right,
smart everything.
iPads,
smart car.
Smart cars, smart
Yes.
homes.
Yes.
You know, smart planet. IBM
Yes.
talks about smarter planet.
Yes.
So when the baseline becomes smart leadership, then you trying to differentiate yourself by being a smart person is no longer good enough.
Good, good. Everything is smart, and nowadays we have smartphone, everything. So when you are saying that I'm a smart person, then you cannot differentiate yourself from all the others. So that's why we need wise. But how can you tell what is wise and what is smart?
Yeah. How I define, along with my co-author Navi, in the book is that smartness is application of intelligence for self-interest. So that means if I'm very smart and if somebody
For
tells
your own
me,
good.
for my own good.
Yes.
So if somebody tells me, oh, there is a Twitter, you should buy the stock, last week it went public, I think it will go up. Then if I act on that for my own self-interest, and if I become very rich, I'm a smart person. But in the what you call focus on one's own smartness for one's own good doesn't necessarily mean I will be a person who will be a good team player or I will be a good management team member. When I'm focused too much on self-interest, my team suffers, my company suffers, my family suffers.
Exactly.
Right.
Then you change your decision.
Right, you change your decision. So what I look at is, if I take that smart leadership and I use the same smartness, combine it with a little bit of reflection on what's going on around me,
Yes.
and a little bit of introspection on what's going on inside me. When I couple reflection and introspection and think about what is the larger interest, what is the noble purpose, if I look at using my smartness for the larger purpose, coupled with the reflection introspection, then I think I am becoming a wise leader.
So for you, if someone really tell you that news, then you know that you're going to be very rich. So are you going to buy the stock or not?
What I will do is, I will look at first, is that ethically appropriate for me to do that or not? As you know,
so even it's make you rich, but you think it's not appropriate, you are not going to do that.
if it is not appropriate, I will think twice about whether it is right way to do it. But I won't be stupid to say, hey, you gave me a tip, I'm not going to do that. What I will look at is there a legal, is there a ethical way for me to be successful? Because then my success becomes sustainable.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Yeah, because even though you become very rich and you are in trouble next. So you have to have the bigger view to overlook everything, to make your decision.
Exactly. Because of the stock option scandals in the Silicon Valley, we have had so many CEOs ended up losing their jobs, resigning from the jobs. Some of them ended up in jail. You know, so in that
only a
respect,
small mistake destroyed their career.
Exactly.
Yes, so many of those stories already happened. So that's why being smart is not enough. 刚才呢，卡帕博士刚讲到，就说呢，现在的社会呢，大家都在讲智慧型，就是 smart 其实被滥用了这个词。smart 在英文里面的聪明的意思，也可以说有智慧，但是它跟真正的那个有智慧的 wise 呢，还是不太一样的。那么大家说啊，就说你的这个智慧型手机了，又智慧型城市了，什么车或者聪明的车啊，它这种词已经被滥用掉的时候，你只是说你够聪明呢，已经不够了。那么这个时候，你要让你自己呢跟别的人不一样，那么这时候就变成说你要有智慧。那么这智慧是什么呢？比如说你内线交易公司里有一个人说跟你说啊，这个股票马上要升了，你现在赶快买，你就可以成为这个百万富翁、千万富翁。那么你再去做这个决定的时候呢，你不能说我听到这个我就立刻去买，让我自己成为。我要看一下说我做这个决定的时候，对我个人有什么样的危害，对我家庭未来会产生什么样的影响，对我的公司会带来什么样的危害？当我权衡过了之后呢，我再决定说我要不要走出这一步。那么也许说暂时我权衡过之后，觉得说对我的将来是不利的，我不走这一步。虽然人家都赚钱，我没有赚钱，但是我呢觉得说我的心安理得。那我们要去就是这样的一个选择。哇 ，So we're talking about smart and wise and how, but you know we are people, we are so busy every day running around. We heard the information everywhere. How can we identify what is wise? And how can we see ourselves?
Yeah. There are 6 capabilities I found out same capabilities can help you to become smart, but appropriately applied with reflection and introspection, they can help you to become wise. So those 6 capabilities are,
What is the 6th capability?
they are, one is having a bigger picture,
Bigger picture. Yes.
bigger perspective, I call it. That means I need to look at the problem from not only what is in it for me, but also what is in it for my team, for my company, or for my country. When I look at with a noble purpose in mind, I'm having a helicopter view.
Yes, yes.
I'm not just having a first floor view. That means I can make strategic decisions, holistic decisions that will benefit me over a longer term, not just something which I get today and tomorrow I may have to pay for it. That is the number one.
Number one， 第一个呢，就是要有个大的图画、大的视野。那我在做这个决定的时候呢，我要看一下这个决定呢，是不是崇高的，这个想法是不是够高尚。那么这个呢，如果说这个想法是不够高尚、不够崇高的，也许明天会给我带来灾难。那么这样呢，我就要决定的时候，我就要先看得更远一点，这个 picture 更大一点。So what is number 2?
Number 2 is action bias, action orientation.
Action orientation.
That means I may have the right perspective. Like you asked a question, if somebody gives you a tip saying this is confidential, but tomorrow this stock will go up because they are announcing results, very good results.
Yes.
Today go buy this stock. I have to look at it and say, when I have a perspective, am I the person who will do the action first and think about it later, or am I a person who thinks about all the things so much that I never take action? One is called shoot first, ask questions later.
Oh, I heard about that.
Right?
Yes, they said the salesperson should shoot,
Right.
and then
Then
think.
you ask, or analysis paralysis. I get into so much analysis,
But you never
I
do
never take
anything.
the action with the
Yes.
deadline. So one has to know when to take action first. If I'm helping somebody, if there is a crisis, that is not the time to sit down and have a big meeting and decide who will do what. Jump in and do the thing. But if it is about something which is not so ethical, then I may have to step back and reflect on what are the implications before I do it. So I need to know when to make quick decisions and quick actions, or when to slow down and think about it.
Wow,
That is when I
this
become
is
wise.
really called wise, really wise. 他说呢，就是说第二个呢是你的行动，因为很多时候呢人是这样的，听到一个什么消息之后马上跳进去行动，你先做了之后再去想呢，也许已经晚了。但是另外一些人呢是一直在研究，一直在想，然后分析了半天，想来想去左右权衡，到后面呢都没有行动，然后人家都已经把机会抢在前面了。所以你在这个行动的时候，你就要知道说什么时候做决定，而且什么时候做什么样的决定。这个呢才叫真正的智慧，我觉得真是很难。I feel it's really difficult to know when to make decision and what decision to make.
Okay.
So what's the motivation to?
Okay. The way to know when to make fast decisions or when to slow down is first knowing oneself. You have to have some self-awareness
Yes, yes.
about your own bias. That's why I called it an action bias. For example, if you go down the freeway, let us say there is an exit near Stevens Creek. Everybody line up because they know it's a long time to take the exit.
Yes.
Some people will line up in the in the rightmost lane and slowly they take the turn. There are some other people, they will stay in the middle lane, go fast, and in the last minute they will look at a gap between one car and another,
They couldn't get
squeeze
it.
in,
Yes,
and
squeeze
then
in.
get out.
Yes.
So if I am a person,
Who you are?
and I am a person who does get impatient.
Yes.
So for me, the mantra, what I need to remember is, if I want to be wise, I need to be willing to take it slow. Right? For my good friend, he is a person who is always like, gets into the right lane 2 miles ahead of the exit and he will slowly drive. For him, the right mantra would be to accelerate and go against his temperament.
So different people have the different decisions. Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
In my book, I talk about your smartness divides into two kinds. One I call a blue zone.
Blue zone.
Yeah, and one I call a red zone. The blue zone means you are very comfortable staying in your functional expertise. If I am a doctor, I like to stay within that field of medicine. But if somebody comes and says, hey, we need a medical consultant in our entrepreneurial startup, they say, you know, I'm not sure about entrepreneurial stuff.
Yeah, I don't want
only
to,
know how
yes.
to do surgery.
Yes.
So I don't want to do it.
Yes.
So that is, I call
Blue
people
zone.
who are in blue zone.
Blue
They don't
zone.
want to take risks.
Yes.
They like to become experts and they
Stay
like to
on
go
their
deep.
industry. Yes.
Correct. Whereas the red zone smartness people like to be entrepreneurial.
Yes.
They like to take risks and they connect the dots. They know where the opportunities are. They may not be very good in executing. They may not be experts, but they know how to find experts so that they can start.
So are you in the blue zone or red zone?
I'm more of a red zone person.
Yeah, I think I'm the red zone person
one.
too. Yes,
Yeah, you
that's why
started this.
that's why we are doing the startup entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
Yes, 我刚才呢 ，Dr. Kaipa 讲到呢，就说这个有的人是在蓝色这个安全带，有的人是在红色安全带或者蓝色区和红色区啊。那么蓝色区的这些人是什么？他就待在他领域里，他也不想越雷池半步。那么他会在他领域里呢非常专心的一直深入研究，就像一个医生一样。但人家给这医生说，哦，你出来给这创业者讲一讲这个怎么样医疗的这知识，他说，哦，那不，那不是我的领域。但是红色区的这些人呢，他们非常愿意冒险尝试新的东西，他的视野就拓广了。而且他的视野拓广以后呢，他就可以找到专家在他的领域里面呢。去把这个事情做好。So sounds like the people in the red zone are more like the creative leaders, right?
They are more entrepreneurial leaders. They are the people who start up companies. They take risks. And they are the people who are willing to go and do things first, not knowing everything, but they do what is called active experimentation. And they are the people who make a lot of things happen in the world. But they cannot make it happen without the help of the blue zone people.
Yes, yes.
Blue zone people are the people who provide quality, excellence, customer satisfaction, cost efficiency, execution excellence.
Yes.
So they may not start the company, but they will become very good in supporting the red zone people to work. So the wise leadership is about bringing both ends of the spectrum and combining it and knowing where am I in the blue zone, where am I in the red zone. If I'm in the blue zone, I need to become more active.
Yes.
If I'm always in the red
zone.
zone, I have to slow down.
Yes, yes.
So then you become a wise leader.
Well, you know, at my home is like, you know, I'm in the red zone, and my husband in the blue zone.
Right.
So it's a very good combination. I feel, you know, when you work together, then you can have to, you know, help each other all the time.
Right.
Yes.
So what you have created is a wise family, a wise couple. Because most times we get attracted by people who are like us.
Yes.
But that is not sustainable.
Exactly.
Because then we become like I control, you control. It becomes very hard.
Yes. Maybe you fight or you just very peaceful and nothing happens.
Nothing happens. So the wiseness or wise innovation requires people who are excellent in execution.
Understand yourself is more important.
Exactly.
Put yourself on the right position. I feel it's very important. So we are talking about this from smart to wise,
That's
right? With coming up to the entrepreneur, and what does wise mean in entrepreneurship?
In entrepreneurship, there are several elements which they have to really do day after day after day. One is making decisions. Second is taking actions, sometimes very tough, difficult actions. Third is communicating effectively. Ultimately, entrepreneurial leadership is about these three. How do I make difficult decisions? How do I take tough actions,
Actions,
how do I communicate things which are not easy to communicate,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
In each of them, as I mentioned, the 6 capabilities, we talked about perspective, we talked about action orientation. Similarly, entrepreneurial leader has to know when to give credit to other people on the team and step back.
Yes.
And there are times when the entrepreneurial leader should be forefront and take the credit for it, but there are times when that person puts their own ego aside and gives the credit to other people.
Yes.
That I call role clarity,
Yes.
right? And the fourth one is decision logic. I need to know
Decision logic.
decision logic. I need to know how I make tough decisions.
Yes.
Do I make decisions based on emotion,
No.
right? Or do I make decision based on data and logic?
Not me.
Not you, okay.
Not me.
Not you. Or do I make decision based on instinct, gut instinct?
Yes. Sometimes.
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 Sometimes do I make decision based on intuition, like sixth sense? So if you know, if you think about past 6 months, what are the critical decisions you made, and look at it and say, out of 5 decisions I made in past 6 months, 3 of them are based on logic,
Logic. Yes.
right? Or 2 of them based on emotion. And logic decisions worked out well, but emotional decisions did not work out well.
Exactly.
If I know that, that means I know what my decision logic
You have
is.
to have your own logic.
Right,
Yeah. It's like your philosophy.
right.
Your logic. But where's your logic come from?
That logic comes from, again, one is belief system, second is experience, and third is certain amount of knowing oneself and being sensitive to the changing context,
Yes.
right? Essentially, entrepreneurs, when they start companies, they make a lot of changes, they learn a lot because they have a larger purpose. They want the entrepreneurial company to become successful. So as long as they have a North Star,
Yeah,
then
tell
they
us
can
this.
make
The
that.
North Star is here.
Right.
Yeah,
North
North
Star
Star, yes.
is one of the-
North Star is on top, and
Yeah.
then you have all the other things.
Right.
Actually, the story from the Bible, North Star, for
Right.
3 wise men.
3 wise men
Yeah.
looking for the baby Jesus.
Yes.
And similarly, whether it is Christianity, whether it is Judaism, whether it is Hinduism, they all have stories about the North Star. Sometimes people call it pole star,
Yes.
sometimes people call it the noble purpose. Ultimately,
Pointing the direction for you.
pointing what is the right direction for you. If you have that clarity, that will give you the perspective, and decisions become easier. I can say, by making this decision, will it serve my North Star, or will it take me away from the North Star?
Yeah, you have to focus on your North Star
Correct.
from time to time and to know if you are on the right track or not. 刚刚讲到这个就是北极星啊，圣经里这个故事就是这北极星的指引的3个东方博士呢，找到了耶稣基督诞生的地方呢，能够去这个看到这个新生的这个耶稣基督啊。那么这个我们的北极星就像在我们生命中的这个指路的方向一样的。那每个人都要有一个你的人生哲学，就是你的北极星。你只有呢你在走的过程中，你要时刻看一看你的北极星，不要偏离了方向。这个样子呢，你才能够达成了你人生的一个目标。You said that you see many of the very smart entrepreneurs failed
Right.
because they are not wise enough. Is there any lessons that they can learn or we can learn?
Sure. For example, when we talked about decision logic, let me give a big name person, and then I'll give a middle manager example also. A big name person in the Silicon Valley is Steve Jobs.
Oh,
Right?
he's the smartest person.
He's the smartest person.
Yes.
Several times people
Yes,
talk about.
very
because
successful,
very
smartest person.
Right. And he influenced 7 different industries: music, or
Yeah.
movies, or computers, or all kinds of things.
Top successful people. But
Right.
do you think he's wise?
His decision logic was wise. For example, in the case of starting Apple stores, because when they started Apple stores right after the 2001 time period, many people on his board, for example, the Gap CEO was on the board of Apple. He said, do not start brick and mortar stores. You should start online stores like Amazon. But Steve Jobs said, I need to create a brick and mortar stores where people can come to learn about Macintosh products. So that means the stores I am creating are not for selling.
Yes,
their
for them
primary
to
purpose
play.
is marketing and
Yes.
customer experience.
Yes.
By creating superior customer experience, he said products will sell themselves.
Yes,
which
which is true.
exactly what is happening.
Which is true.
Because, for example, Apple makes $50 million per stores, and I was told it is per square foot they make over $6,000. That is the highest amount per square foot, because the next closest is the Tiffany jewelry stores in New York.
Oh, you know well.
It makes like $5,000.
Yeah, you
and
know.
most stores like JCPenney
Yes.
make about $150 per square foot. So that means he had a very good decision logic. It is not for selling, but for marketing.
Yes.
Of course, there are other areas he was not wise. So I believe each of us make smart decisions in some areas, wise decisions in some other areas. To really be innovative, entrepreneurs have to figure out where do they make smart decisions that will not be good, and begin to slowly develop that balanced perspective. They need to begin to bring wise perspective, wise action, and wise role clarity, wise decision making. And of course, we will talk about the perseverance. I call it fortitude, especially when you have to close something, when you have to cut a project. You know, you have to know, when do I take the losses and close it? When do I wait for some more time and put some more money into it?
Yes.
So having that right ability to know when to hold on, when to fold, that is called a wise fortitude.
Wow, this is really, thank you so much for coming. This book tells us from smart to wise.
Yes.
It's really not easy to turn yourself from smart to wise, but need a lots of practice. And this is a good book for you. This is like a Bible of management.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, you can take an assessment, free assessment to know where you are, read the book, apply it, so then it becomes more like a handbook for becoming a wise leader.
Exactly. 那么今天呢，我们就为大家请到呢，这个印度呢著名的一位作家，他也是这个就是创新创业这方面呢，专门辅导 CEO， 辅导呢这些高层的管理人员呢，怎么去让他们的这个思想能够进入到可持续发展的这样的一个领域，和不断的去创新啊。其实他刚刚讲到一些非常好的一些观点，就是说我们在做一个决定的时候，要怎么去看我们这个决定，那么决定了之后，怎么样去行动。那么行动了之后呢，怎么样检讨我们自己，能够 focus 我们的方向呢，一直朝着正确的方向发展。其实，在这个今天这么短的节目时间内，我们没有办法全部的来跟大家很详细的分享。我们希望以后呢，再为大家请到Kaipa博士。Thank you so much for coming to our show. I think the time is so short. I hope that you can come back next time and we can discuss more about it.
Thank you very much, Diana.
Thank you.
It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. As a startup in Silicon Valley, innovation is our DNA. It's inside our blood. What is innovation?
Very confident.
It's a way of thinking, it's a philosophy, it's a mindset. It's very closely related to leadership.
For me, it's really about finding the right fit between the product and the market.
Have a strong technology position, a strong market impact.
Innovation can be an idea, can be a product, can be a service, or can be a thinking. It can be everything, out-of-box thinking, not limited to your background, to the past. Welcome to Innovation Dialogue. I'm Diana Dane, and today we are going to talk about Cloud Festival. Today we have Carrie Davis, and she's here to share her story, which is so inspiring. What we are doing here is to summarize, bring out the point, and give a good presentation. Help people to bring out their idea to the whole world.
It's very important to be able to spot human talent and to be a good leader.
More importantly, it's how our corporate and partners perceive the value that's come out of the event.
It was all about seizing the opportunity rather than looking at the world as a set of problems.
I want to change the paradigm of angel investing being local. I want all of us to think global and to look at great opportunities in Asia or Europe, wherever it is in the world.
Come to Ding TV. Let us work together to bring out your idea to share with the whole world.